Hi everyone. Just wanted to I finally got around to doing a second video about coming out of New Age, and I just wanted to talk to you and give you a little bit more information. I want to tell you about coming out of it and some of the New Age things that I just don't do anymore as a Christian. I considered myself a Christian during the almost 20 years that I was in New Age. But when Jesus opened up my eyes and he removed the veil and I could clearly see what I was doing was not from his word. I was deceived. I had no negative thoughts about New Age. Everything about New Age was positive, was about love. It was about loving people, which is exactly what I wanted to hear. Having a spirit of rejection that was attached to me for years and years and years, and just continued to be a theme in my life, and was my issue that I had to overcome and still struggle with today. But God is faithful. So with there being a background of rejection in my life, I identified as the woman with the issue of blood. So in the Bible, there is a woman with an issue of blood who bled for 12 years. She had been to every doctor that she could think of, every witch doctor, every regular doctor. She had tried standing on her toes and howling at the moon. She had tried every vitamin, every herb. She had tried every witch doctor. She had tried everything that the medical community had to offer her, and she still was not better. She was still bleeding. And if you could just imagine, for a moment, putting yourself in the shoes of that woman with the issue of blood, who had asked for help, who was miserable, who was hurting, who was bleeding, who had tried everything in her power to feel better, to get better, and still could not get better. And the word says that she spent all of her money and was actually worse in the end than she was in the beginning. Well, I can identify with that woman. My issue of blood was a lot of emotional things that I needed healing from. And I had tried doctors, and I had tried medicine, and I had tried the witch doctors, which I would not have called the witch doctors. I had tried every New Age technique and thing that is offered, from Reiki to oils to I'm telling you, if someone had said, like I said, standing on your head and spinning around 3 times, 3 times a day, then I tried it or would have tried it to get better, but I didn't get better. Let me just tell you what Jesus did for me. So, I went along for 20 years, just getting more and more into the New Age stuff, more and more involved and really looking for healing. And it just wasn't available to me. And I, like that woman with the issue of blood, just got worse and worse and worse. So in my struggles, I cried out to God one night, and I just said, I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm miserable. God, I need you. And, and Jesus just showed up for me. You could take that however you want to take it. But for me, it was very real. He really showed up for me. He showed up in a tangible way, and really took me by the hand and led me, showed me scriptures, opened up my eyes, and really ministered to me when no one else would. And I am so grateful for that, because no one else would help me. I really felt like a leper that no one would touch, no one would hug, no one would be around, no one wanted to spend their time with. And again, just a lot of rejection. But you know what? Jesus didn't reject me. When I called out to him, he showed up, he was available, and he kept showing up. He kept showing up. He met me right where I was and opened up the word to me, just poured into me. When I read, I could understand what I could not understand before. Well, and I hadn't even tried for 20 years. Only as a child I could not understand. But for 20 years, I sought healing in everything but Jesus. And again, I'm talking about some physical healing, but I'm mostly talking about emotional healing. And so I want to tell you why I won't do yoga. Yoga is based on Hinduism, and New Age is based heavily on Hinduism. And if you're not aware, Hindus believe in many, many gods. In fact, millions of gods. And they're very spiritual people. Hindus are very spiritual people. And they believe in something outside of themselves. They know that there is something outside of themselves. However, they put their trust into millions and millions of gods. And what happens with yoga is the yoga stances and the words that are spoken, the names of the poses, etc. What they do is they call on that particular god, which I learned later is not a god at all. It's a spirit, but it is not a godly spirit. And I don't want to have myself attached to those things that tormented me and tormented my mind. And I know this video, for some of you, you are going to think, boy, she is out there. But that's okay, because there's some of you that are listening that you know what I'm talking about. You have been tormented. You have not been in your right mind. You want healing. You want the truth. You want to not be deceived anymore, and you want healing. You want real healing that lasts, and you don't want to walk in deception anymore. And so this is for you. This is for those people who have experienced some of those things, same things that I have, and you're ready to walk out of deception. You are ready to